In today's world, strength is often measured by noise. The person who talks the loudest, posts the most, or moves the fastest is celebrated as if they hold all the power. But the truth is that much of that noise hides weakness. A strong mind doesn't need constant distraction or endless words to prove itself. Real strength is quieter. It's found in the person who can master their thoughts instead of being mastered by them. It's in the one who speaks with intention, not impulse. It's in the rare individual who focuses fully on what matters and lets go of the rest. This isn't easy because it asks you to go against the world, but once you do, you discover something most people never find: a strength that doesn't come from noise, but from clarity, control, and silence. We live in a culture that celebrates noise. The loudest voice in the room is often mistaken for the most confident. The person with the busiest schedule is often praised as the most successful person. We scroll through endless feeds where people showcase how much they're doing, how fast they're moving, and how loudly they can announce their achievements. And because we see this every day, we start believing it. We assume that to be respected, we must always have something to say, that to be valued, we must always be busy, that silence or stillness means weakness, laziness, or insignificance. But here's the truth: noise isn't strength, it's often a disguise for insecurity. Think about it. How many people talk endlessly but say nothing meaningful? How many fill their days with frantic activity yet go to bed feeling empty? Loudness without clarity isn't power, it's a mask. Busyness without purpose isn't success, it's avoidance. The strongest people don't need to prove themselves with constant noise. Their presence alone speaks volumes. They aren't in a rush to show the world how strong they are because they know their strength isn't dependent on recognition. The problem with noise is that it scatters us. The more we fill our heads with chatter and our lives with clutter, the weaker we become. We lose focus. We react instead of respond. We mistake motion for progress, forgetting that running in circles is still standing still. Society rewards the outward display, but it rarely sees the inner battle. A man who spends the day in silence, mastering his thoughts, is invisible to the crowd, but that man holds more strength than the one shouting for attention. A woman who chooses focus over busyness, who says no to distraction and noise, may not look impressive on the surface, but she is quietly building an unshakable foundation. Strength isn't measured in how much noise you create. It's measured in how much control you have over yourself. The illusion is seductive, though. It whispers, if you don't speak, you'll be forgotten. If you don't move faster, you'll fall behind. If you're not loud, you'll be overlooked. But real confidence doesn't beg for attention. Real success doesn't demand you exhaust yourself. True strength is the ability to hold back when everyone else rushes forward. It's the power to remain calm when others panic. It's the discipline to choose silence when your ego wants to speak. And here's the paradox: once you stop chasing noise, once you no longer need to prove your strength, people will notice it more than ever. Because true power begins where the noise ends. And this is where the shift begins. If the illusion of strength comes from noise, then true strength starts with silence, especially the silence inside your own mind. Because before we can control our words, our actions, or even our focus, we have to learn how to master the thoughts that shape them all. Here's the first truth you need to hear: thoughts aren't facts. Just because a thought enters your head doesn't make it real, and it doesn't mean you need to believe it. Yet most of us do exactly that. We treat every thought as a command, every fear as a prophecy, every self-criticism as the truth about who we are. Think about how dangerous that is. If a stranger on the street insulted you, you'd probably brush it off or fight back. But if your own mind whispers the same insult, you're not good enough, or you'll never make it, you let it stay, you replay it, you believe it, and that's how thoughts, when left unchecked, become cages. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Lose a job, that's an event. Tell yourself, "I'm worthless without work." That's the judgment. Get rejected by someone you care about? That's an event. Conclude, "I'll never be loved again." That's the judgment. The pain rarely comes from reality itself. It comes from the meaning we attach to it. So how do you break free? Picture this. You're at a train station. Every few seconds, another train screeches in. One shouts, "You're a failure." Another warns, "What if everything goes wrong?" Another nags, "You should be doing more." Most people don't think twice. They jump on every train, get dragged to destinations called anxiety, anger, or self-doubt, and then wonder why they're exhausted. But here's the truth. You don't have to board. You can stay on the platform. You can watch the trains come and go, knowing they're just passing machines of thought, not commands you must obey. This isn't about suppressing them. Suppression only fuels them. It's about mastering your stance. It's about observing. It's about questioning. And then deciding, does this thought deserve my ticket, or do I let it roll past? That's the real power. Not silence of the mind, but sovereignty over it. And once you've begun to master your thoughts, the next thing you should master are your words, because while thoughts may shape your inner world, your words will shape the world around you. Words can either build trust or destroy it. They can either create peace or ignite conflict. The strongest presence in a room is rarely the one who speaks the most. In fact, it's often the one who speaks the least. Why? Because silence carries weight when it's chosen. Anyone can fill the air with noise. Few can hold their ground in quiet confidence. Our ego, however, hates silence. Ego pushes us to prove, defend, argue, or correct at every turn. If someone misunderstands us, the ego leaps in. You have to set the record straight. If someone challenges us, it whispers, "Don't let them win." But here's the paradox. Every time you obey the ego and rush to speak, you reveal your weakness. You show that your sense of worth depends on being right, being heard, being acknowledged. The strongest people don't need that. They don't feel compelled to enter every argument or defend every opinion. Their silence is not ignorance, it's control. Think of the power of a pause. In conversations, silence unsettles people. Most feel the need to fill it, to explain, to soften the gap. But the one who can hold silence commands the moment. Their words, when they do come, land with far greater impact. This is why the best leaders and the most respected individuals are rarely the loudest. They don't waste words, they measure them. They know that every unnecessary word dilutes their presence, while every carefully chosen one amplifies it. In everyday life, this discipline shows up everywhere. In meetings, the person who sits quietly and speaks only once may be remembered more than the person who dominates every minute. In conflicts, the one who listens, pauses, and then responds calmly almost always has the upper hand. In relationships, a few words of support spoken at the right time mean more than 1,000 rushed reassurances. The Stoics were clear on this point. Epictetus advised, "Be mostly silent, or speak merely what is necessary and in few words." To control your words is to control yourself, and to control yourself is to be truly free, because words, once released, can't be recalled. A reckless word can burn bridges in seconds that took years to build. A careless argument can leave wounds long after the moment passes, but silence leaves no scars. This doesn't mean silence is always the answer. Strength isn't muteness, it's intentionality. It's knowing when to speak and when not to. It's choosing words that serve purpose instead of ego. It's allowing silence to work for you instead of being enslaved by the compulsion to fill it. And the more you practice this, the more influence you gain. People will listen when you speak, precisely because you don't speak all the time. Your words will carry weight because they are rare, and your silence will become a signal of confidence, wisdom, and strength, because just like mastering your thoughts, mastering your words isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it with precision. And that discipline of silence naturally leads us to the next challenge. In a world that glorifies constant motion, can you master the art of doing less and focusing only on what truly matters, which is disciplining your energy? Because in the end, it doesn't matter how calm your thoughts are or how measured your speech is. If you pour your energy into the wrong things, you'll still feel weak. Life is an unpredictable storm. One moment the sea is calm, the next a wave hits without warning. You can't control the weather, the tides, or the storm itself, but you can control how you sail. You can control your sails, your direction, your reaction. And that's where strength is truly built, not in taming the storm, but in steering yourself through it. This is the essence of Epictetus's teaching, often called the dichotomy of control. It's simple, but life-changing. There are things within your control and things outside your control. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your effort, those are yours. The opinions of others, the twists of fate, the past, even the ultimate outcome, those are not. Suffering begins the moment you confuse the two. Think of how much energy people waste fighting reality. We argue with the past, even though it cannot be changed. We obsess over the opinions of strangers, even though we can't control what they think. We rage at the weather, the economy, or the universe itself, forces far beyond our reach, and the result is exhaustion. It's like trying to push back the tide with your bare hands. But here's the shift. The moment you stop wasting energy on what you can't control, you suddenly have more power over what you can. A practical way to see this is through a simple exercise. Draw a line down the middle of a page. On the left side, write everything that's bothering you: fears, frustrations, worries. On the right side, separate them into two columns: what's in your control and what isn't. The clarity is often shocking. You'll find that most of what weighs you down lives in the "not in my control" column. And the freedom comes when you decide to stop carrying it. And the paradox is this: the moment you let go of control over the uncontrollable, you actually feel more in control of your life. You stop being dragged by forces outside of you and start standing firmly on the ground of your own choices. And once you've learned to release what you can't control, something powerful happens. You free up energy, but energy without direction is still wasted, which is why the next discipline is focus, because where your attention goes, your life follows. Think of the mind as fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it and whatever you water grows. Plant resentment and bitterness will spread like weeds. Plant gratitude and resilience takes root. The soil doesn't judge. It simply multiplies whatever you choose to feed it. And that is both the danger and the opportunity of focus. Most people, without realizing it, spend their days feeding weeds. They replay old pains in their heads, looping the same mistakes, the same regrets, the same conversations. Every time they do, they give life to something that drains them. Instead of moving forward, they're locked in a cycle, watering the past while starving the present. This is why focus is not just a gift, it's a discipline. Nobody wakes up with perfect control over their attention. The world is loud, distractions are endless, and the mind is always looking for the easy escape, which means focus has to be trained like a muscle. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments of them. And judgments, after all, are a matter of focus. If you spend your attention on what you've lost, you suffer. If you direct your attention toward what you can build, you grow. Same life, same events, different focus, different outcome. So how do you practice this? One tool is breathing, not in the shallow way most people dismiss it, but as a reset. A few deep, intentional breaths are enough to bring you back from spiraling into the past and anchor you in the now. Another tool is the attention reset. Every hour, ask yourself, where is my focus right now? If it's on something unchangeable, shift it. If it's on something draining, redirect it. That simple awareness breaks the cycle. Then there's the practice of focus anchors. These are reminders, small objects, notes, or even phrases that pull your attention back when it drifts. For some, it's a bracelet they touch whenever they catch themselves spiraling. For others, it's a phrase on their desk like, "Is this useful?" The point isn't what the anchor is, it's that it brings you back to the discipline of choosing your focus instead of being carried away by it. In a noisy world, strength is often mistaken for volume, speed, or constant activity, but the Stoics knew better. True strength is quiet. It does not need to prove itself. It does not chase attention. It is found in the stillness of a mind that knows what it can control, in the restraint of a tongue that chooses its words carefully, and in the presence of a person who acts with purpose, not impulse. The lessons are simple but not easy. Think less but better. Speak less but with weight. Focus your energy where it matters. Accept what reality brings without resistance. Step into silence so that clarity can guide you. This is not weakness. This is not retreat. This is the foundation of a powerful life, one that cannot be easily shaken by noise, by chaos, or by the opinions of others. So as you step forward, remember, every moment is a choice. You can add to the noise, or you can cultivate strength. You can speak to be heard, or you can speak to matter. You can be swept away by distractions, or you can live with clarity. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people who have learned the discipline of quiet strength, and that begins with you.